Good morning, everyone. A special good morning to Dr. Godwin, Dylan, Laura, and those from NASA joining us virtually. Thank you for being with us today. First, we want to congratulate Team Chroma and Sonder. We are truly in awe of your work. With that being said, we are ready to launch a campaign built to connect with the Yaya audience in a way NASA has never done before. But before we tell you our story, let's introduce who we are.
It's 'cause I keep on trying to.
Where you at? Are you under?
Tryna keep contact high.
I'm trying to be there.
Tryna keep the
Cause I
profile
keep on
low.
trying to.
Where you at? Are you under?
Tryna keep the contact high.
I'm trying to be there.
Tryna keep the profile low.
Si tu apprends que je t'attends, ne t'en fais pas, je t'oublierai dans un instant. Les autres font des tas d'histoires pour un pansement. De cœur à cœur et tout en tête pour le moment.
We are TeamAtlas. Just like our namesake, we seek to create a comprehensive map of the generation that is shaping our future.
Back in August, NASA challenged us in this very room to promote the Artemis campaign and generate an excitement and awareness in the Yaya market by generating and emphasizing Artemis's inclusivity, and all while keeping an eye toward Mars.
In our research, we discovered a concerning trend among the Yaya market that desperately demands attention. According to the US Surgeon General, the Artemis generation is suffering from a silent epidemic: loneliness.
Jack is a burnout college student. Sure, his grades are near the top of his class, but he misses his friends and longs for the times that he wasn't drowning in homework. As he works on yet another hours-long project by himself, he wonders if the walls keeping people out may become permanent as he enters his full-time career.
Here's Maya. When she was younger, she and her dad would look through the telescope and marvel at the constellations and planets. Her dreams of becoming a female astronaut have turned into studying for a career in STEM. As a woman in a male-dominated field, she finds it increasingly difficult to relate to the people around her. She reflects on how she misses these moments with her dad and feels like the only girl she knows who loves space.
Meet Louise. She just moved into her first place she can call her own. She's in a new city and concerned for what her future holds. She's worried if she returns home, she will be disappointing those who helped her become an independent young woman. As she watches Instagram Reels on her phone before bed for the 12th night in a row, she's never felt more isolated.
These stories of isolation reflect the paradox of feeling disconnected in a world full of digital hyperconnection. Our Yaya audience is the loneliest generation to date.
Loneliness can cause stroke and heart disease, making it as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes per day. In addition, long-term loneliness can lead to chemical changes in the brain. For example, 61% of our Yaya consumers reported being diagnosed with some form of anxiety disorder.
But all is not lost. Our research shows that our Yaya audience is curious, interested in space, and wants to make memories with others. NASA has the unique opportunity to transform the narrative of space from a cold, isolated landscape into a place of warmth and unity by tackling the issue of loneliness here on Earth.
During our research, we found a universal truth. The universe is vast, but it draws us closer. This insight presents an intersection between what our audience needs and what the Artemis campaign is capable of achieving.
Our interviews show that many in our Yaya audience seek to recapture the thrill of experiencing a lunar event with a loved one or the bonding that can occur when you share an interest in space. They just need the tools to find that connection. Meet our target audience, the solitary socializers.
Solitary socializers are college students and recent grads who crave connection, but get caught in the paradox of their internal loneliness. In classrooms, parties, and games, they find joy in people's company, but get lost in their own thoughts. So they turn to their phones, their digital lifelines. They are social media savants. Their Instagram feeds are beautiful, influential reflections of what their real-life connections could be. However, the void they feel persists.
They're refreshed by the curiosity. They love consuming interesting stories, and they want to learn through lived experiences, shared experiences. Loneliness may have extinguished the fire inside, but we still can provide a spark.
So, how can NASA alleviate loneliness while still connecting individuals through the Artemis campaign?
Through the transformative power of awe.
Awe is triggered when you experience something larger than yourself. It gives you perspective.
It's watching a sunset, a buzzer beater, or a small act of kindness.
Awe isn't just a feeling, it is a scientific phenomenon. When people experience awe together, their physiological responses, heartbeats, breathing, actually start to synchronize, creating a sense of shared connection and belonging. Collective awe generates a kind of shared electricity, or collective effervescence, as sociologists have called it.
Loneliness is destructive to our health, but awe is the antidote. Seizing moments of awe in our everyday lives is crucial to our well-being. It transforms us from being selfish to selfless.
Awe is scientifically proven to better our lives, and it's a cornerstone of all things Artemis.
NASA sparks moments of collective awe with its trailblazing innovations, rocket launches, and collaborations. Without NASA, humanity would be robbed of the awe-inspiring healing of looking to the sky to forge a braver future.
For our campaign, we want to get our solitary socializers who feel alone to experience the transformative power of collective awe through the inspiring stories of the Artemis campaign.
Our big idea takes something that's all around us and gives it a new NASA-centric name.
Excuse me, sorry. Oh, that was so awkward. I hate being late to things like this, but I had to go to the library, and I had to do my work.
Man, I gotta
But then I don't get to sit by my friends, and I can't find them. I didn't see my headphones.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff.
Enter the Artemis Effect. This campaign positions NASA at the forefront of a movement to overcome loneliness by experiencing awe together.
The Artemis Effect is defined as the warmth and clarity we feel when we take part in awe-inspiring experiences with others. It inspires us to draw closer to one another and focus more on our community as opposed to ourselves. But before we can explore how NASA can expand the Artemis Effect from a concept to an omni-channel awareness campaign, let's discuss our brilliant branding.
Through our visual identity, we wanted to define what it looks like to experience the Artemis Effect while remaining cohesive with NASA Artemis's existing identity. We chose to integrate a circle motif across our branding elements. In our primary logo, for example, 2 circles overlap to form black, showing how connection transforms us, and representing the far side of the moon as the connection point between Earth and Mars.
Our secondary logo and image treatments incorporate halftones, showing many small components aligning to form one cohesive picture. We also use circles to emphasize elements in our photography, like shared expressions in a crowd. We join these circles into constellations to further emphasize connection. Just like how stars in the night sky form unique groups, we want to show the universal emotion felt during the Artemis Effect and how it creates connections unique to each group experiencing it.
We want to personalize the Artemis campaign by utilizing crowd shots to keep our creative focus on the 2 groups driving the Artemis Effect, NASA and the Artemis generation. Researchers from Georgia Tech also found that pictures of faces were over 30% more likely to get a like or comment than photos without faces.
For our tagline, we chose Experience the Artemis Effect. This call to action will keep the Artemis Effect top of mind while also building intrigue, motivating our solitary socializers to seek out the true meaning of the phenomenon.
Now, let's explore how we will bring our campaign to solitary socializers across the globe.
We have 3 content goals for our touchpoints.
First, we will generate awareness and an understanding of the Artemis campaign and the Artemis Effect.
Second, we will foster interpersonal connections throughout the course of our campaign.
Finally, we will activate the Artemis Effect and encourage solitary socializers to seek connective experiences in their daily lives.
The Artemis Effect will be introduced to the world via the video that you just saw. It will live across all of our campaign's social media platforms, including Instagram.
Instagram's high Yaya market reach and shareability tools make it the perfect platform to serve as a social hub for all things Artemis Effect.
Instagram content will give a voice to the loneliness epidemic by visually depicting the Artemis Effect. Instagram will also serve as a main hub for user-generated content through the usage of hashtag the Artemis Effect and the creation of story templates asking our audience to share moments that they feel collective awe.
Through Instagram, we'll increase engagements through likes, comments, and shares, and we'll generate over 3.7 million total engagement. Now, let's follow our solitary socializers, Jack, Maya, and Louise, as I navigate through the constellation of our campaign.
During a late night study session, Jack encounters our launch video via a collaboration post between @NASA_Artemis and @NASA, whom he already follows. He's intrigued by the meaning of the Artemis effect, so he heads to the link in bio and moves to the Artemis landing page, which will be hosted on NASA's website.
The landing page will tell the story of the Artemis campaign through the lens of human connection, serving as a central hub for learning and exploring about Artemis. The new design captures the connective tissue between our audience, and each section offers actionable ways to experience the Artemis effect. This interactive rebrand invites users to engage actively and effortlessly. We expect this redesign to attract over 500,000 visitors during our campaign.
As Jack scrolls, he encounters Experience the Artemis Effect, which defines the phenomenon, Help Us Connect the World, which showcases our experiential touchpoints, Can You Hear the Awe, and Share Your Artemis Effect Moments, where our UGC will live. His attention is piqued by the Can You Hear the Awe section, which showcases the next piece of our campaign, The Artemis Effect, a NASA podcast hosted by Hank Green. And something tells us that hosting this podcast will be right up Hank Green's alley. Take a listen.
Welcome to The Artemis Effect, a NASA podcast. I'm your host, Hank Green. Join me in exploring the Artemis campaign through the lens of the warmth and clarity we feel from experiencing something awe-inspiring together. Each episode, NASA guests and I will confront the unspoken struggles we all face within space exploration and beyond, the loneliness, doubt, and the weight of reaching for something bigger, like establishing a human presence on Mars. We want to bring the Artemis campaign to you through the Artemis Effect.
Jack has never heard a story like this from NASA before.
We chose Hank Green as host due to his high Yaya reach and experience hosting educational podcasts. And yes, that was actually Hank Green. We reached out to him for that podcast intro, and he told us that he loves our project. We chose a podcast as the perfect medium to both inform and spark conversations about the Artemis campaign.
80% of college-educated adults under the age of 30 have listened to a podcast within the last year. Our full episodes and behind-the-scenes content will live exclusively on NASA Plus, while short clips will be posted to YouTube Shorts in lieu of using TikTok.
We will generate 91 million impressions via this touchpoint. We expect the podcast to accumulate over 430,000 listens during our campaign life.
Jack listens to episode 1, featuring Artemis 1 mission manager Mike Seraphin. In this episode, he discusses how he embraced uncertainty while planning the mission stages that will send people to the moon, and during moments of his career. Hearing Mike talk about an issue that Jack is currently experiencing gives him a newfound sense of solace.
We will leverage the popularity of the Artemis astronauts and send them on a media tour of specific influencers' podcasts. For example, Christina Cook will appear on Emma Chamberlain's podcast, Anything Goes.
That is where our STEM student and space enthusiast Maya first encounters the Artemis campaign. As she listens, she finally feels like she can relate to someone in her field, and a warmth grows in her chest. She looks Christina up on Spotify and comes across the Artemis Effect podcast episode where Christina discusses imposter syndrome and decides to give it a listen.
At the end of the podcast, Maya is encouraged by host Hank Green to visit the Artemis X page and answer the Artemis Ask.
Conversations from the podcast continue on X with engaging prompts like, if you can give loneliness a color, smell, or sound, what would it be and why? X will be a platform for sparking curiosity and conversation. And NASA Artemis will interact with other partners and agencies, showcasing the collaboration of the Artemis campaign, allowing them to create a narrative of connection and friendship.
At NASA Artemis, we'll also reach out to users posting about their loneliness and offer them some light in a trying time. Our goal is to increase engagement on @NASA Artemis by 15%.
Maya responds to an Artemis Ask, and after hearing some encouragement from @NASA Artemis and others on X, she decides to follow Artemis on Instagram. The Artemis Instagram tells the story of Artemis through our connective constellations. While scrolling, she sees a post about international collaboration.
An excerpt of the caption reads, What if our long-distance friends weren't so long distance? 4,688 miles. That was the distance between our Artemis II crew before the mission. The Artemis campaign eliminated that distance, allowing them to experience the Artemis effect together.
Maya is inspired, seeing how working for a cause greater than herself brings the world together. She realizes that while she may feel alone right now, she is a part of an Artemis generation that will come together.
Constellation statics like these will live on every Artemis social media platform and exemplify how the Artemis effect is crucial to bringing the campaign together.
Finally, we want to show our Yaya audience that the energy they feel when I attend a big event doesn't just come from what's on stage, but from experiencing it with others. The Artemis effect is already sparkling in huge crowds like sporting events and concerts, which is why we'll be introducing the Artemis effect bracelet.
The Artemis effect bracelets will glow with the power of collective electricity, synchronizing the heartbeats, goosebumps, and voices of our crowd into one breathtaking experience. The bracelets will be introduced at NCAA basketball games and on Coldplay's space-themed Music of the Spheres tour.
We chose Coldplay because the Artemis effect is happening there already. They just don't know it yet. Just take a look at how some people are describing their experience at Coldplay concerts online. Someone says, "Time stops and you are overwhelmed by happiness."
The bracelets will be funded through a partnership with Coldplay. NASA will just rebrand the Pixmob bracelets Coldplay already passes out. To cross-promote the Artemis campaign and the Music of the Spheres tour, the bracelets will be introduced at key rivalry NCAA basketball games like Iowa State versus that University from Kansas. There, fans will be treated to an exclusive, immersive halftime experience presented by NASA Artemis and Coldplay.
By bringing these bracelets to campuses across the nation, Coldplay will increase attention from the Yaya audience for their upcoming tour.
That's how Louise encounters our campaign. In an attempt to integrate herself into her new community, she attends one of her college's rivalry basketball games.
These bracelets will glow to the music of Coldplay's Moon music album as the audience is treated to NASA-owned visuals of space and the Artemis campaign, allow them to experience the beauty of space together.
During the halftime experience, Louise is not only connected to the fans around her, but also to the last person who wore her bracelet. After the show, she follows the instructions on the Jumbotron to scan her bracelet's QR code.
When she scans a QR code, it takes her to the Artemis landing page.
There, she pins her location and writes a note to the bracelet's next recipient, message in a bottle style.
In an effort to be sustainable, Louise and other fans will return their bracelets to clearly marked bins at the exit so they can be recycled and reused at the next university.
Then, that bracelet's next recipient can scan its unique QR code and learn about its previous journey. Each bracelet will tell a story of connection through a series of people who have worn it while experiencing collective awe.
This partnership will generate 15 million impressions in earned media alone, thanks to the culmination of the NASA following the Coldplay brand and NASA's bold focus on the loneliness epidemic.
Louise watches her bracelet travel from university to Coldplay concerts and searches for Artemis on Instagram.
She clicks on the stargazing post and is encouraged seeing people her age come together around space. This lights a fire in her and makes her inspired to make similar moments happen in her real life.
The caption reads, "We all have a memory of stargazing with someone, whether a parent or a lifelong friend. The vastness of the night sky, the joy in finding constellations, the awe of a meteor shower. When we share these moments together, we feel the Artemis effect. The very same phenomenon that we harness as we attempt to go where no human has gone before, Mars."
This post will also serve as subtle encouragement when we announce Bright Letters, Dark Skies, and Artemis Effect Experience. The inaugural event, hosted by NASA at the University of Houston, will bring solitary socializers together through the power of the stars and live music.
During the event, our socializers will have the opportunity to write letters to incoming freshmen. These letters will feature words of encouragement as they take on the lonely endeavor of move-in day.
As the sun sets, Houston's campus will dim its lights to eliminate light pollution for 30 minutes, giving students the rare chance to experience the view of an unobstructed sky from campus.
NASA and UH will then challenge other universities via social media to host this event in collaboration with relevant campus organizations.
Our goal is to challenge 4 campuses to follow suit. This will reach our solitary socializers, including Jack, Maya, and Louise.
Louise sees a flyer for the event on campus. In a moment of newfound courage, she decides to attend.
Jack decides to take the night off from the college grind and make some new connections at the event.
While Maya sees this as an opportunity to explore her love of space with others.
So on one cool, clear September night, our solitary socializers come together to experience the Artemis effect.
Between band sets, the closing video of our campaign plays on a projection screen.
When we look into open space, we can't help but ask, is the glass half empty or half full? In its wide expanse, are we isolated? Or does its vastness somehow draw us closer? Do its unknown wonders connect us, ignite a shared curiosity, and propel us toward discovery? We know our hypothesis. Let's put it to the test. Experience the Artemis effect.
Jack is energized by the video, so he heads over to the letter writing station where Louise, a campus activities volunteer, hands him a card. He writes a heartfelt message to an incoming freshman and turns when someone asks for his pen.
Jack passes his pen to Maya. She decides to take a chance by inviting Jack and Louise to sit by her for the main event.
As the band plays its final song, the crowd grows quiet. Everyone's phones fall to their sides as the campus lights dim.
Our crowd of new connections looks up to a sky that's larger than themselves. Their heartbeats begin to synchronize, and they feel everything around them fade away.
Their minds grow quiet, and their worries seem to dissipate for just one moment.
Maya's face is filled with a contagious smile, eventually making its way to Jack and Louise. As they share this moment together, they suddenly feel less alone.
And their collective awe shines brighter than the stars above.
These three represent just one potential impact of our campaign. The truth is, we have the power to inspire over 1 million solitary socializers to experience the Artemis effect in person.
You challenged us to increase awareness of the Artemis campaign. In our survey, we found that over half of 18 to 24-year-olds were either unfamiliar or misinformed about Artemis. Our campaign will change that. We will generate awareness for over 10 million solitary socializers.
In short, our 9 touchpoints will reach 90% of our target audience nationwide.
How do we know this will work? Because we experienced the Artemis effect ourselves throughout the creation of this campaign.
We were brought together by NASA to solve a problem for the betterment of humanity, or at least the betterment of our Yaya consumers.
Throughout this campaign, we learned to find awe in the little moments.
For example, I felt the Artemis effect when we took a group trip to the observatory on Halloween, and although it was too cloudy to see the stars, we got to see the lights of campus shining in a way we had never seen before.
I felt awe watching Lily create a 300-frame hand-drawn animation for our team video.
And I felt a shared electricity during team huddles after class where we built each other up and celebrated our victories together.
These moments of awe would not have existed if we were not brought together through the Artemis campaign.
We want to bring that opportunity to bond around Artemis with every single solitary socializer in the world. So, are you ready to experience the Artemis effect?
Fantastic. I love the use of branding elements to really kind of tie everything together. I think that sense of awe is definitely, and trying to inspire that in people was right on point. I mean, that is a huge part of what got a lot of people that work for NASA, including myself, kind of in the door. And so I think that, that really resonates. And really nice job on trying to, help people connect with strangers, right? I think that's really fascinating. Just a couple comments from my team. I'm trying to kind of dig through stuff on my phone here, but the video, I'm losing my mind over that video. So fantastic work. I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but I am curious, since I've already asked the other teams, what do you guys see as your biggest challenge and how would you overcome it?
I think that for me personally, though the bracelets are so amazing, you connect so many different people, it is a touch point with a lot of different moving parts. So getting from university to university to Coldplay concerts like in our lyrics, I think that's going to be a challenge, though we do have budget allocated to it, so we will be able to get them to and fro everywhere they need to be. I think that would definitely probably be the most logistical challenge, trying just to make sure we're connecting everybody through the Artemis effect and through those bracelets.
Okay, thank you.
Wow, I liked all of this a lot too. I mean, it was just amazing. All of these presentations, I didn't really have any real expectations today because that doesn't quite sound right. I'd never been to one of these, so it's more like I didn't know what to expect. And it's been so much more than I, could have anticipated, was going to happen today. I wish NASA could just go implement all of this. I really like this idea, and I think you put your finger on too. This really kind of happened back in Apollo, this effect of we're all together, and it was even international. It's sort of like once you leave Earth, you're all more connected, not just in your country, but in the whole planet. So I think that's the potential, of this. And I think you were showing connections worldwide. And so that just really kind of warms my heart, that can be an intangible sort of outcome of the Artemis program. So I was trying to think, do I have a question out of all of this? Yeah, I really liked the bracelet idea. I like that being connected. And while it could be logistically challenging, not a super amount of money compared to some other things that, you might try to do. So I just got, I guess some of this came out in your research data, but how did you really zero in on the whole loneliness issue? There had to be a substantial amount of discussion on how to get started on one of these things.
That is incredibly true. There was a substantial amount of discussion and just kind of continued throughout the course of our campaign. I think the thing that struck the most of us was that Surgeon General report that we are the loneliness generation to date, and that extends beyond 65 to 85-year-olds. And when we were talking about the universe is vast, but it draws us closer, we said, well, how does it do that? Because we feel so disconnected despite this kind of synthetic social media connection. And Emma came across this beautiful article describing awe and all the scientific reasoning and the foundation of awe. It's not just a concept, it is a physiological and scientific thing that happens within us and between us when we experience it together. And what's really funny is once we landed on awe, we realized it was all around us and it's everywhere within NASA's branding. It's awe-inspiring and groundbreaking, and it was something indescribable that felt authentic to try to overcome loneliness when otherwise that feels so heavy.
Thank
you. I thought tapping into the sense of awe is really brilliant. Not every brand has the ability to create awe, and obviously that's a NASA superpower. It's just inherent to what NASA does. And it made me think about, I'm sure like everyone in here thinking about the moments that I've experienced that. The day the James Webb Space Telescope photos came out for the first time, and people, my friends who don't normally pay attention to space, were all talking about it, and some of them changed the background on their phone to some of the photos. So that was something that like brought us together, and that was a shared moment. And I could see that in what you guys were discussing reflected in that. I had a huge sense of awe the day that Linda walked into the physics building and said, "I'm a retired astronaut and I'm your professor," and then showed videos of her spacewalk. I mean, true sense of awe. And so that was really amazing. And I think what was cool about, just to use that moment as an example, it showed me that astronauts are real people. They're not these superhuman fantasy people. They're real people. And I liked how you had the podcast. I just did a 5-part Gateway Lunar Space Station podcast series. For Houston, we have a podcast. And my main priority with that was to make sure that we had an astronaut from each international partner agency to talk about their country's contribution to the space station, to show the humanity behind it. So that just all really resonated with me. And I think that's real. I don't really have any questions. I thought it was brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll just kind of say one more comment. Something you guys said here at the end actually really struck me. How you went to, I guess, an observatory and the sky was cloudy, but you still found beauty. And so I think this whole idea of thinking about awe and the Artemis effect, it encourages you also to just kind of be mindful in your day-to-day life. And it's even outside of having this amazing, space-related experience, I feel like something like this would really encourage people to just find those simple, everyday like moments, which are really amazing. So I really like that about it.
How about Hank Green?
So I think somebody who posted on Zoom can sum up what we all feel. I'm so ready to experience the Artemis effect. That was awesome. So congratulations, Team Atlas.
Thank you.
So that concludes the presentations for today. How about another round of applause for all the teams and the work that they did? I know we're incredibly proud of all the work that they've done all semester and just couldn't be more thrilled for what we saw today. So thank you all, and we'll see you next year.
We have one more thing. We all signed a little picture of all three teams, and we wanted to give it to you guys to put up in the Stratcom office or somewhere.